Hey friends, today I want to talk a little bit about the cluster B personality disorders as defined by the American Psychological Association's DSM. So these include narcissistic, antisocial, histrionic, and borderline personality disorders. First, let's take a look at NPD since we've already covered a lot on this topic. So as we know, pathological narcissists generally lack empathy for others. They are unable to see the worth of others whatsoever. And they often come across as very self-ingratiating and conceited, although there is also the covert version that we've discussed. And basically these individuals are considered more dangerous because they are better actors and better able to hide their narcissism for a longer period of time. They tend to use more underhanded manipulative tactics, and victims often don't realize that they're in the presence of a covert until it's far too late, unfortunately. Now, antisocials are another cluster B personality disorder. This particular disorder is very dangerous. These individuals lack normal human emotion and empathy like narcissists, but they take the behavior to the next level. So they often engage in very risky behavior. These individuals lack consistency in their lives, in their relationships, in their careers. They're often, in trouble with the law, have legal issues, are incarcerated because they have absolutely no regard for rules, regulations, laws, or the general well-being of others. They are fairly easy to spot, although they can be very great actors when they need to be, such as if they're going before a judge for a legal issue. Or they're trying to, win someone back in a relationship just long enough to completely destroy this person. But if you have any indication that you're in the presence of somebody with antisocial personality disorder, my advice to you is to run as quickly as possible. And then there are the borderlines. So borderline personality disorder is the most well-researched cluster B disorder. These individuals too lack consistency in their general lives. They tend to make very significant changes in their lives constantly, frequently, and with little forethought. So they will take fairly big steps such as moving residences or careers, making significant relationship changes very often and unexpectedly. And so they're, seen as very chaotic. Their lives are seen as very chaotic. They then suffer depression because they don't have any meaningful relationships in their lives, and they're often very distraught with, the paths that they have chosen. And so they live in this cycle of constantly trying to switch up their environment in order to find happiness, but being unable to do so. Okay, and then there's the histrionics. So histrionic personality disorder, these are individuals who live on drama, okay? They need to be the center of attention at all times, and if the attention is taken away from them, even for a short period of time, they become extremely uncomfortable, and they will typically, go to extremes to propel themselves back to being the center of someone's attention. So, for instance, let's say, a histrionic mother has recently become empty nested, and she now feels very alone and isolated in her environment. She feels very unneeded. She will try to come up with crazy, ideas or suggestions or, just incite unneeded drama in order to continue to insert herself in her adult children's lives. Histrionics, while they can come across as very compassionate and empathetic and caring for others, they actually revel more in creating this emotional upheaval. And family members are often, embarrassed or humiliated by their actions simply because as soon as they befriend someone new or enter into a new relationship and this person is introduced to the histrionic family member, the histrionic will immediately attach to this new person and kind of unload on them. And since this new person is not familiar with their maladaptive behavior, they'll initially listen, and it puts the family member who is, who knows about this person already in a very uncomfortable position. So they need to be the center of attention. What all cluster Bs basically have in common is that they act very neurotically. Their lives are typically in upheaval and chaos, and they all need to be the center of attention. So this basically, gives you an overall picture of what the cluster B personality types are and how they're similar to each other. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks.